Yes. I forgot how to start a video. Hello, and welcome to. Which number is this now? Number 5?
I'm not sure.
Anyway, we're going to Luxembourg. It's about 4:45, and we're walking to get on the tube. We missed the Northern Lights last night. Apparently, it was the best viewing in 20 years from London, and everybody else seemed to see them, but we were asleep, so missed that one. But yeah, we're walking to get on the tube now. We're flying out of London City Airport, which I think neither of us have done before, so hopefully be quite interesting. Then yeah, into Luxembourg. There's an evening marathon. It's Saturday morning right now, and then 7:30 kickoff this evening, which will be interesting. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. So we got on the tube and headed down towards London City Airport. When we got on, it was still technically like the Friday night tube service, but luckily by the time we got to East London, the DLR was running like the Saturday morning service, so we didn't have to wait around for a bus or anything. When we got to the airport, everything was really easy. Everything was going very smoothly until our departure kept getting delayed by 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. We didn't really know what was going on, so checked the flight radar website and saw that the plane coming in from Luxembourg was still over the channel circling, basically. A 1 hour flight ended up taking them 3 hours because of the fog over London. The plane just couldn't land, so they had to keep going round and round until it was safe to come down. So yeah, we ended up sitting in the departure lounge for quite a while, watching plane after plane take off and none landing. Eventually, though, it did come down, and we could get on the plane about 2 hours after we were supposed to. The flight was pretty straightforward. Luckily, the fog didn't affect us much at that point. It was only about an hour's flight from here to Luxembourg, and the descent into Luxembourg was really cool. We went straight over the city and got a first glimpse of where we were going to be exploring for the next 2 days. I was trying to see if I could spot any of the marathon routes, any part of the marathon route, and you kind of see one of the bridges, which I quickly became very familiar with over the weekend. It was the quickest I'd ever got into a country coming off the plane. We were sat in row 4, pretty much ran straight off the plane, no queue at the border, and then we just had a rucksack, so no bags to collect either. About 2 minutes we were out of the airport. We got straight on a bus, number 16, that went to Lux Expo to pick up the race number. You could either pick the race number up on the Friday or the Saturday, between I think like 10 and 2 or something like that. So the expo was in between the airport and the city centre on the way, so we went straight there, had a little look around, and then got the number and got straight on the tram that then took us from the expo into the city centre by the hotel. One of the really cool things about Luxembourg is that all public transport is free, so absolutely no stress getting around. Just turn up basically and let someone take you where you need to go. I think, if I'm not mistaken, that might be the start line. You reckon? This is really empty. Give me a smile.
You missed the smile.
Oh, yeah, there's an extra smile. Do you want to tell the camera what's happened to your back here?
I don't know what's happened to my back. It really fucking hurts.
This is like creepily quiet in here. We've just been taken on a tour of the whole expo, basically. Noise, you must be almost there. here. That's the finish line over there. Seats here for spectators. Will you be making it up here at midnight?
Probably not, considering I can hardly walk. If there was wine, we never know. Where there's wine, there's hope.
You got to walk a marathon here just to get your start number to run another marathon later. Oh, so this is the bag drop as well for later. I mean, so far it does seem like a really well organised, everything under control compared to Marrakesh. And there was absolutely no bag drop or anything. It is for all the sponsors to try and extract as much money out of you as possible. I joke, but the expos can be a great place to pick up last minute necessities or learn about new races. By the time we were out of the expo, I had a leaflet for 1,000,001 different German races handed to me to put away. Some of which looked actually pretty cool. There was one that is a half marathon through an old disused mine, which looks really interesting, so we might check that one out at some point. After the expo, with race number in hand, we jumped straight back on the tram and headed towards our hotel in the city centre. The main road down from the expo into the city centre is sort of as European as you can imagine. There's a cycle path, pavement, tramway, and then room for some cars as well. It's quite an interesting juxtaposition journey because you go past all of the new modern glass buildings through a lot of the sort of financial area, and there's EU buildings around there, and then end up in the old historic city, which looks completely different. It's quite an enjoyable journey, and this road is something I became very familiar with over the 2 days we spent in Luxembourg, up and down it a number of times. I think this is like the main town centre. I think town square. Okay, so we've just got to the hotel and doing a quick room tour before we go. Say hello to the camera, kid, or sit there miserably. We're staying right in what seems like a tourist centre square of the city of Luxembourg, just in Hotel Francais or something, pretty basic hotel room. Bed, wardrobe, graphic image behind. The bathroom, confusingly from London, like from the UK, is split in two. So toilet there, and then what looks like a wardrobe at first has the shower and the sink in it. And then somehow we're on the 5th floor. We've managed to get a door's also a window. We've managed to get a balcony. Oh, a balcony bigger than the room, completely to ourselves. I mean, the view isn't fantastic really down there, but view of someone. It's nice being able to get a bit of outside space. It's cool being at this roof level. We're kind of trapped in a little bit, not really sure what we're facing or what anything else around here is, but it's nice having a little private balcony. What are we doing now? Going out to get some lunch, dinner. It's about 1:30 now, and the race starts at 7. So we'll go and get pasta somewhere, hopefully. You're looking up the cafe at the bottom of this hotel was. I had a quick look at the menu coming in. It was like €30 for the cheapest bowl of pasta. So hopefully there's something else somewhere.
Maybe it'll be a Burger King tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe we'll deal with that tomorrow. But hopefully we can find somewhere, get some pasta beforehand, and then head up again to the start line for 7 o'clock start. So anything else to say?
No, but the only thing I've just seen that lots of these restaurants close at 3 and then reopen again for dinner.
Better get going.
Yeah.
We had a quick walk round the town for about an hour or so, peeking at the different menus outside the restaurants. Unsurprisingly, as Luxembourg is one of the richest countries in the world, most places were not that cheap. Those are pretty expensive. We ended up in a slightly fancy place, paying about 25 euros for each bowl of pasta, which, with the final bill coming to about 70 euros, felt like quite a lot for what was essentially just carb loading, but it was super tasty, so kind of worth it in the end. After this, we headed back to the hotel and just kind of hung around the room for an hour or two, trying to do a little bit of stretching, loosening up before the race. And then about 5 o'clock, started to get my stuff together and headed up towards the start, back to the expo.
Remind people is, given the weather conditions tonight,
I got to the expo again at about 6 o'clock and it was still incredibly sunny and hot at that point. So I started to worry a little bit about getting dehydrated and exhausted before the race had even started. I brought my bag inside to drop it off and it was still pretty spacious and cold in there, so ended up doing a few laps of the expo just to stay out of the sun. Did a little bit more stretching and loosening out whilst walking around in there.
Just on the second lap of the expo centre because it's absolutely boiling outside still at like 7 o'clock almost. Got 15 minutes to the start now, so gonna head over to the start line. And yeah, let's just hope we don't burn up. It's absolutely rammed here. Really good energy, but when it's boiling hot outside and rammed, yeah, easy to overheat. Just trying to be careful. Yeah. Off we go to the start line.
are you ready for the start?
The race started off pretty nicely in the sun. We weaved around the expo for a little bit and then jumped back on the main road down into the city centre. There are a few little detours along the way as well, instead of just down the straight road. The first water station was an absolute free-for-all, so I just took a few steps to the left and skipped past that one. Didn't want to mess up my stride straight away, but everyone was clearly a little bit dehydrated from standing around in the sun. We crossed the bridge a few miles in and then started winding round the historic city centre and then some other residential bits as well. So the race wasn't just a marathon, there was the marathon, half marathon and relay marathon as well, with 4 runners running about 10k each. So we hit the first handover just after 10k, and it's quite an interesting point as you were, in the 10th k you were overtaking people who were starting to walk, who could make it 9k but not quite the full 10, and then in the 11th k all of a sudden people would come flying past you as they jumped out of the gates, and then you'd be catching them up again another 8 or 9k down the road.
This is the best race atmosphere I've seen since London. So many people out. There's the first step in the half marathon. There's the hotel up there. I could just jump out here and go to bed, but not today. That's 10 miles done. So many people here supporting. It's absolutely fantastic. We've just gone past the hotel, and now we're heading God knows where. I'm not sure exactly how this team run's done, because we're only at 20k. And as the last person gets stuck with an extra 2k on the end, something's not quite right here. Just past 14 miles now. I'm back with the 3-hour pace group. Just about behind me. Oh, sorry, not 3 hour. It's just 3:30. But you went through halfway about a mile ago on like 3:24 pace. So I'm not entirely sure what the pacing strategy is. I'm hoping it doesn't mean there's loads of uphill in the second half. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Right, that's 16 miles done. Now begins the longest countdown known to man. The final 10k of a marathon.
And at this point, I think it's really worth emphasising how amazing the support was from the people of Luxembourg. I'd say this is definitely the highest supporter as a percentage of residents ratio race, if that makes any sense. The atmosphere only got better as the sun started to set and it started to become more of a kind of party atmosphere. So yeah, a quick thank you to all the people of Luxembourg and all the friends and family that came to watch.
What a sight! That's beautiful. So cool. You can feel the ceiling shaking. Well, the ceiling being the road. Honestly, I love Luxembourg so far. Okay, 14 to go. Just gone down a massive hill to get down from that bridge, which I think means we're going to have to go up a massive hill in a minute. This might be a tough finish. There are too many bridges in Luxembourg. It was that one we were running underneath. 30k. And I think we've got to get back up there somehow. Or at least up to that height. Somewhere else. Let's see how it goes. Right. Gone past 20 miles now, 6 to go. Sun is nearly set. Starting to feel it a bit in my legs, but it's been a fantastic run, so gotta just keep going.
Now, I'm not sure why, but my camera decided to start playing up at this point. It might have been some sweat or water on the lens, or maybe something to do with the heat or the dark or something else I was doing. I'm not really sure what happened, but it went away again later, so hopefully it's not a proper issue. But yeah, the next bit of footage might look a little bit funny.
We're back on the main road bridge into town now, I think. Or a different bridge. No, this is a smaller, different bridge. I don't know where we are. But I think we're heading back towards the expo now, slightly indirectly. Yeah, I'm ready to get back there. Thank you. 37k, 5 to go. The Jeep would just jump on the tram. Going back over the bridge, out of the main part of the city, back up to the finish line. Almost 24 miles. Done. 2 to go. Hey, maybe you think you can see me down there. We're nearly there. In the tunnel. As foggy as anything from the smoke machines at the end. I don't know if the camera can pick it up, but it's like a pub before the smoking ban. I've done 25 miles now. I think I can hit the finish line. And I'm walking down this sketchy path, running down sketchy path. Barely any light. God, this has been a course and a half. So close. There we go. It's just in here to the finish now. I'm so tired. Oh, come on. Where is this finish line? Here we go. Here's the finish line. Where the hell's the water?
Luxembourg, are you ready to party tonight?
Back in here again. When I booked this hotel, I did not know that they had front row seats to a live show. It's been the absolute worst journey back. It's harder than the race itself. Yeah, that journey back was one of the hardest journeys I've ever done. I feel so sick, so much worse than I did at the end of the race. Partly because the race is now kicked in, and I thought I'll say something in the morning. I just got to wash and somehow try to sleep with a racket that's going to be going on all night. Okay, good morning again. It's Sunday morning now. The body was absolutely wrecked last night on the way back. I got on the tram at the expo after the race and then had to get off about halfway through the journey because there's, packed like sardines in there. I felt like I was going to throw up, so I had to get off for a few minutes and wait for the next one. The adrenaline disappeared, and then I think I had like a mini panic attack trapped in a corner on the tram, so I had to get off and just give myself a minute. Leant over a fence thinking I was going to throw up, and then got back on the next tram after that, and then finally made it back to Party Central where we're staying. Luckily the noise didn't actually get into the room too much, so I could sleep.
And yeah, woke up with the body feeling surprisingly recovered this morning. So we've just had breakfast, and now out of running mode, back into full tourist mode. Gonna walk around as much of the city as we can, and then flight's at 7 o'clock, so get to the airport around 4 or 5. And yeah, that'll be it for Luxembourg. One night, quick stay. The room phone just rang because we've got about 5 minutes to check out, so better get going. The first stop on our trip was to see the tunnels of the old city. This was a really interesting, characterful part of the day, and I definitely recommend stopping by if you're ever in Luxembourg. The tunnels are fascinating, really. It's amazing how they've lasted for so long, and be easy to get lost in there. We were saying as we were walking around, a game of hide and seek would be exciting and terrifying. A good evening if you could play hide and seek in the dark. We also got some great views of the city out of some of the openings, which would have historically been used to defend the walls of the city, but now they're just used to admire it instead. Walking around the spiral staircases brought to mind how Luxembourg isn't really a great city to get around if you've got some sort of physical disability. Everything's super hilly and steep, and well, most things use stairs rather than any other type of support. So if you need a wheelchair to get around, maybe just go to the Netherlands instead.
Okay. Nothing like a dead end. Nothing like a dead end.
So yeah, we've got to go back over here and then back up the rest of that spiral staircase.
Wish that our wedding is nice.
I didn't even hear it.
Can we pick it up?
I don't think the camera can pick it up. That's the bridge. That's a bridge. There are too many bridges.
Wait, that's a bridge?
Yeah. See? This is, I think this is like this is the old bridge into the castle.
That's Pont Chateau then, or Chateau Pont or whatever. Pont de Chateau. Where's the castle? Yeah, Pont de Chateau.
On the camera, it's just a white light, and it's like Heaven's Gate or something.
Andorra, 160 kilometres. Monaco, 600.
Not quite a compass, not quite a sundial, not quite a map.
Yeah, it's a map through time. Saint Michel 987, Cathedral 1613, Old Town, Archives Estate, Plateau of Saint-Esprit. See? It's the development of it.
Yeah. So there's north and south.
Yeah.
After the tunnels, we headed up towards the cathedral and stumbled across the most run-down part of Luxembourg that we could find. It was a tiny little path going from one square to another, and looked like something out of the Pirates of the Caribbean. It looked like it'd seen some troubles in the past. When we got to the cathedral, we went to go in, but there was a service just starting, and there was a sign on the outside saying no visitors, basically. So after that, we headed onwards, went back on the path underneath my new favourite bridge. I thought it was right that Kira get to appreciate it as well, not just me. After crossing the bridge and the underneath path, we then went back over the top of it in the other direction to where we started, And then from there we went down a nice little fairy tale looking staircase down to the water's level. We then took the shaded route down there round to a little town called Grund. Luxembourg from any angle would make a good painting, and this part of the walk really emphasised that point. And it's easy to see how these parts of Europe inspired fairy tales and Disney princess stories and all that type of stuff. This path round was also one of the later parts of the marathon, and walking around the city like this on the day after a marathon, after you feel like you've conquered the city, it's quite enjoyable. Although at this point in the day we were also quite drained from walking around in the sun. When we got to Grund, we weren't surprised to find out that it was another beautiful part of the city. The river runs kind of straight through the middle of it, and it was really nice to appreciate the quaintness of the water standing on the bridge. I feel like it's a really peaceful place to kind of just wait and watch the world go by. We wanted to get some lunch, but it was about 1 o'clock at this time, so everywhere seemed to be full. We headed round to another little church and had a sit in there for 15-20 minutes. It was really pretty inside, and sort of a great place to stay out of the sun and also take a moment to reflect and say thanks for the great trips that we've been on so far this year. After the crowds had died down a little bit, we headed back to Scott's pub, which was on the bridge that we were standing on earlier. It's a lovely little pub and would definitely recommend it for anyone nearby. Really good food and nice waiters and everything as well.
We have got ourselves some ice cream.
Chocolatey mouth.
Is it? No. You're
Okay, good.
Where are we? We are now pretty tired. It's 3:30. Just been walking around in the sun all day pretty much, trying to avoid sweat as best as possible. We're back where we started, just opposite the hotel. Just going to sit here and have these ice creams and then head up to the airport. I don't really have anything else to say. I'm just too tired now to care.
I look really weird from that angle.
Cool.
My head looks huge. Big mark on my face from my sunglasses. Oh, it's left gathering, it's left by it.
What is that?
Department store I told you about.
Oh yeah.
But the one in Paris is really nice. Like the building, I mean. More so than what's in it, I mean. Expensive.
We headed back to the tram stop where we'd first got off just over 24 hours ago. And just as we were waiting for a tram, a number 16 bus came by. And that was the same bus we got to the expo at first. We didn't realise it came all the way into the city centre. But instead of getting the tram to the expo and then the bus, we just jumped straight on the bus there. Had a nice little sit down and headed straight to the airport.
No more start line there anymore, is there? Looks a bit depressing now, actually. Shipping containers.
Yeah. I need to sort that out.
Bye, Lux Expo. Nice knowing you.
When we got to the airport, it was fairly quiet. Which sometimes coming back from these marathons, you don't know if the airports and the planes are going to be absolutely rammed or not because of the influx of tourists over the weekend. But I think because a lot of the runners were German, French, Dutch, Belgian, a lot of them would have just been getting the train instead, so the airport wasn't impacted so much. So when we got there, we went straight through security pretty much and went to find the lounge and tried to fashion something of an early dinner after quite a late, large lunch. There wasn't really too much hot food, if any hot food on offer. There was only some soup, so ended up fashioning more of a breakfast for dinner type thing with some smoked salmon on toast. We also had a celebratory glass of champagne to tick off the 6th country, or well, champagne for me at least. Kira just had a glass of white wine. She doesn't like the bubbles. yeah, it was nice to again take a moment and reflect. 6 down, 190 something I think still to go. With these lounges, I wouldn't recommend ever really paying for them one-off. They're quite expensive for what they are, especially when you don't really know what kind of food and drink is going to be on offer inside. The only reason we use them is because we've got a credit card that makes it a lot more worthwhile. But yeah, it was a nice one to sit in. Could see a bit of the runway, but not too much. But yeah, it was better to sit in there out of the sun than hang around in the city any longer. So after trying to have some sort of dinner in the lounge, we headed out and we're back on the same Q400 back to London. I spent the flight reading a book called Running the World. It's by Nick Butter. If you haven't heard of him, then he was the first and I think so far only person to have run a marathon in every country. If you're just watching this video for the first time, that is currently the goal that I'm working towards. Not very far through it at the moment, but hopefully we'll get there eventually. If you haven't read it, if you haven't heard of him or you haven't read the book, but you've made it this far in the video and are interested in this type of thing, then you'll definitely be interested in his story. So would recommend getting a copy of it. Not an advert at all. Haven't met Nick yet, but hopefully we'll do at some point. But yeah, I think it's definitely a fantastic read for anyone interested in this type of travel adventure, pushing yourself. The flight was, again, only about an hour back, so didn't end up getting through too much of the book in that time. But when we came over London, the descent was absolutely amazing. We were coming in from the east, but then did a little loop round sort of zone 1 on the tube map, and then headed back towards the airport from the west. We saw pretty much all of the touristy sites that you would normally see from the ground. We went past the Shard first, then turned around, came back over Tower Bridge, got a glimpse of the O2 as well. Sadly, the window was slightly dirty and we were behind the wing, so didn't have as good a view as some of the others might have on the plane, but it was still fantastic seeing the city from that angle. And yeah, we definitely want to fly from London City again whenever we get the chance to. What did you think of your trip to Luxembourg here?
Yeah, it was very good. Hopefully we get home now and it's successful. I'm not cooking that chicken, I can tell you that. Oh look, sunset.
Not quite the northern lights that we missed, but pretty nonetheless.
I'm gonna try and forget about that.
What was your favourite park here?
Just walking around it today. It's so nice looking.
It's a very, very pretty city.
Yeah, it just looks like a fairy tale city or something, as I kept saying.
Yeah.
It looks like Disney.
As if that wasn't the inspiration. I'm pretty tired now. Still quite a long way from home, but on the way. All in all, Luxembourg was a great weekend away and a great marathon. The city was absolutely beautiful, and the people were fantastic and really welcoming and supportive too. I'd highly recommend the trip if you're coming from near or far. A weekend was great, but there's definitely more you can do in the city and out of it if you want to stay longer. So that's 6 countries down now. I think my 10th marathon overall. The next one coming up is Sweden, the Stockholm Marathon in June. So yeah, if you've made it this far, thank you very much for watching.
keep an eye out for the Sweden video coming up, and hopefully see you there. Take care.